But before we get into the Danhausen thing, did you know, JD, that they've already done kind of like a behind the scenes documentary on Danhausen's debut?
No, I didn't actually. I haven't seen it.
Well, I have it. I have it. We shouldn't get nuked. I think we should be good here. Let's go to X here and let's play the Danhausen.
The next year and a half,
tribute.
struggling with his mental health. Determined to come back better than before, he's finally offered a role that he believes will get his career back on track.
At some point, he was directed to come out of a big wooden box.
Oh, when a guy comes out of a box, he's instantly over.
This is great.
Have the usual suspects come running in, and what was in the box?
And I was like, it's probably going to be fucking Danhausen, isn't it? And in fact, it was Danhausen.
And we're like, oh my God, we didn't know he was going to be here. It was like the Munsters. Holy, he's a huge mark.
And he comes out there, he's smaller than anyone on the show. He's smaller than any of his dancers. He's smaller than a good portion of the fans. Smaller than all the announcers.
Somehow he thought this was going to work out like he wanted. And the closer that we got, the more obvious it was that it was not.
19,000 people in Chicago, not one of them knew who he was.
I remember thinking to myself, like, this is terrible. Why did they bring this guy out just to kill him like that?
There's one pathetic little poof of pyro. The lights go out. And everyone boos.
Who edited that?
I don't know, but it was really good.
Well done. Bravo.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Okay. Can I give my theory on the Danhausen debut?
Sure.
Okay. I don't want to give WWE credit, but I think we're going to have to on this one. I think they wanted their Gobbeldy moment, and I think they planned it out to be awful. like I know you're like, Mike, you're giving them the benefit of the doubt that they purposely made it bad, but I think they wanted it to be like this to get people talking. And Danhausen's a complete joke, and I think they were like, we want to do this. It's not going to get over. It's going to be hilarious. The poof of smoke was on purpose, and then they purposely held the camera shot afterwards when the lights go back out, and then they held on to the boos to get those boos on television. I think they wanted it to be bad because they wanted their Gooker moment. I think that's what this was.
Why?
I don't. That's the thing. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't think they wanted it to work. Like, it might end up actually working, but I think they made it bad on purpose. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna steer into. I have my own thoughts, but I'm gonna steer into your conspiracy theory for a moment because I'm gonna have fun with this.
Okay.
I truly believe that Paul Levesque and Phil Brooks still hate each other more than life itself.
I hope that's true.
I think that's 100% true. They're just too different. And in some ways, they're too similar. Those guys who are very similar, but they're just different enough in a lot of ways to hate each other. Right?
I think they see wrestling differently, but they have similar personalities and they fight for their vision in a similar way. But Paul has the power right now.
Yeah, not just wrestling, just in everything. Like Paul's hanging out in the Oval Office, and Punk still pretends to care about like liberal things, even though he doesn't. So I think that I truly think if you are correct, I truly think they signed Danhausen, made it look like that Tony Khan shipped him there from Jacksonville. Because it looks like it looks like that Tony stuck him in a box and mailed him to Triple H to get him out of there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then failed as a fuck you, Phil.
Yeah. So I think you're right, but I don't think it failed completely. I think it's more like this is bad television, and people are like, oh, Danhausen doesn't fit what WWE does. Like, they had the Boogeyman,
100% does.
They had the Gobbledygooker. They had all I think that's what this is. I think it's just going to be a spoof the whole time.
It could be. Now, I give them a lot of credit. I don't think Triple H is that creative, though, to be quite honest with you.
No, I think Triple H is, but Bruce Pritchard has been there forever, and it might be a Bruce Pritchard. This whole thing reeked of Bruce Pritchard to me.
Yeah, you're kind of right. Yeah. I'm of the mind that I think people are written off Danhausen already.
Yeah,
I don't think so, because he hasn't had a chance to be himself yet. No. I think that you put Danhausen on TV, all you gotta do is give him the microphone and he'll get over it because he's funny. Like, I do think I saw a quote in the chat saying the stuff was worked 5 years ago on the Indies. I think the Danhausen shtick is overplayed, but again, I've been following it since 2020 or whatever. So I mean, like, I think that I think it's gonna be new to the WWE audience if they give it a shot. Now that being
Mm.
said, no, again, like our buddy, I don't know if we're supposed to say, but we had a buddy who had an idea. He's like, all you do is put him on under the commentary. Oh, you punch him in the groin. Like one of his, like that was actually a pretty good Danhausen impression. All you had to do is let him just do a couple Danhausen shticks, and he would be fine. He would be over with that. Look, that crowd. There's no reason that crowd won't like Danhausen. Like this is where he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like he never fit in AEW ever.
Yeah. Well, when AEW started, they were doing some, like they were bringing in a lot of the meme wrestlers.
Yeah, I
They,
agree with
you know
that.
what I mean? They had Michael Nakazawa, they had Orange Cassidy. They were doing a lot of stuff like that, and so
Yeah,
they
you're
brought in the meme, like he's the meme wrestler. Like he
Mm-hmm.
popularized the meme wrestler. The problem was is that Orange Cassidy's a really good wrestler and could get over with the gimmick, you know. But Danhausen doesn't do that, and that's fine. I think you can get away with not being a really good wrestler in WWE because they'll just have him pick his spots, and you know, and he will be a baby face that the heels can get heat on, and that CM Punk like avenges, you know, if it is CM Punk, which I think it would be.
No, and I do think this is a CM Punk thing. I do think they'll get a chance to get over. My concern now is, was it so bad to the fact that they just don't do anything else with him? Because like the Gobbeldy Gooker, that was the beginning of the end of old Hector Guerrero in that suit.
Yeah. Well, I think back then Vince, and I'm not going to give him any credit, but Vince actually cared what the fans thought.
That's true. That's a great
because he needed them to come to the, like, he didn't have guaranteed money coming in all the time, right? And they were still growing the company. And he knew it was terrible and laughed it off and then just moved on. I think that WWE will probably try to force feed this thing. And I think they're going to give it an opportunity to stick around for a while.
So here's the thing. I think it's going to depend on how that shirt sells.
Yeah.
Because they did put out a shirt. I think if Danhausen sells a bunch of T-shirts, they'll let him on TV. If he doesn't, he'll be on NXT or down to AAA and Evolve.
AAA. I don't think him going to AAA is like the worst idea. I think
it's a good with Mr. Guana. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you know, he always did well, you know, doing merch on his own, and then you know, he always sold a lot of other people's merch on the side. So he's the merch guy.
That's the thing. Like people, like, why do people say fuck Danhausen? Well, you know, he was really over.
Yeah.
When they probably signed him at the wrong time, because they signed him in early 2020. AEW signed him in early 2022, like after they started getting all the really good workers signed.
Yeah.
So if they had signed him in 2019, where strangely enough he signed with Ring of Honor, or the original Ring of Honor, which was that's an even weirder fit than AEW. So I don't think they really knew what to do with them. And then I remember I wrote an article for WrestleJoy about 4 years ago saying that TBS should do like Grandpa Al's Drive-In Theaters, one of my favorite shows as a kid, with Danhausen. I thought that would have been great with cross synergy with TBS. Would have been awesome. That clearly never happened. The problem with Danhausen is that politically he made himself a lot of enemies. You know, there was the stories that he sold some merch they shouldn't be doing,
which we can't verify that. By the way. That's a rumor.
Story.
Yeah.
What isn't a story is that you know, he was very clearly during Brawl Out, he chose a side, right, very publicly, you know, and the other thing too is he didn't want to work Collision. When Collision became CM Punk's Islet of Misfit Toys, he told Tony Khan that's when he works conventions, is on Saturday.
I'd never heard that story. That's a legit story.
That's the story, yeah.
Okay, I've never heard that before. I didn't know that was a report.
It's like those guys who signed with TNA back in the day and wouldn't go to tapings because they had indie dates booked. You know, he makes a lot of money on the convention circuit, and he pretty much made it known he wanted to leave and go to WWE. So Tony left him, let him start for a little bit, which is kind of how he does things. His whole thing is, I'll just pay you, just sit at home. And again, we criticized that back in the day, and it's not a great thing, but I have a hard time shedding tears for a guy who does go to all these convention signings, does do all this stuff, and like is making money. I don't know. I mean, I know he'd rather be on TV. My thing, the only thing I didn't like, you know, because he did want to get out of his deal and go to WWE. He wanted to, you know, go with Punk. The only thing that I didn't like is that Tony extended his contract knowing he wasn't going to use him. I thought that was petty. And if WWE did that, I would be just as furious at WWE, because when all those guys were trying to get out of their deals, when AEW was starting, you know, Brody Lee and FTR and Buddy Murphy and Mustafa Ali, like there's a Andrade, there's a lot. Brian, all these people trying to get out of their deals,
and WWE just kind of froze them out and made them sit in catering. Like
Mhm.
we were all against that, so we can't
Mhm.
just change our opinions because the three letters of the company change. Like the act is still bad. Again, like I don't have a lot of sympathy for people that get to sit home and make hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like I wish I could, but if
Mhm.
they actively asked for their release, I think that after a period of time, you should grant it to them. I think there's like with very few exceptions.
I struggle with the concept of the independent contractor not being able to independently contract in general.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
don't like the idea of people signing to a company not being full-time employees. I also don't love the idea. Here's the thing: is like guys in WDB would go to catering in the hopes that they would work. Like
Yeah.
these AEW guys, the guys who the AEW malcontents didn't want to work. They actively, this difference between Tony and Vince is they would say, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Whereas in WWE, they'd fly them out, they'd sit in catering, and they just, because Daddy Vince would be there, they would just wait for their shot. So that's kind of where I'm like, I think in Tony's case, he needed to establish himself as a bit of a dickhead. You have to be a bit of a dickhead to be a boss, and let guys like us call you an asshole. And he is an asshole for that move, no doubt. Sometimes you have to be an asshole, and I do find it funny that all the guys that Vince was like, "Oh, we should just give them some more," are all back in WWE and all doing nothing.
Yeah, except for Andrade, who's back in AEW and actually having the run of his career.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? It's a great. That's such a amazing, not amazing, great, but just amazingly interesting message that Tony Khan has sent. Is you can come back here and I'll push you harder than I did last time. Unlike it's wild. Those guys went back to WWE and Rusev. Remember fucking CJ just a couple weeks ago was like, oh yeah, Rusev wanted to wrestle more, so he's back in WWE.
Yeah,
he ain't wrestling a lot.
No, yeah, and when he does, he usually loses for sure.
Mm-hmm. Which again, it's pro wrestling. The whole idea is to make money. I mean, if you're going to be that guy, cool. If you'd rather be in the bigger company losing all the time, that is absolutely your prerogative. Zero qualm with that. You're a professional. You are making money any way you see it. Awesome. But I just find that rather interesting. The Danhausen thing, I think he's one of the few guys who I think that if they decide to give him the time, he'll get over. He's gotten over everywhere he's gone. He was super. I have a Danhausen mask behind me right now still because I do like Danhausen. So, I mean, I think that if they give him time, it'll work. My only thing was this such – the internet has decided it's a failure. I don't think the boos were as bad as they painted him out to be. The fact that Chicago didn't react to Danhausen when they always reacted to him when he was here for AEW surprises me. Like, because especially a pay-per-view crowd is usually a lot more smarts.
Especially, at the United Center with CM Punk on top, and there's like I think there's like 19,000 people there. Like, it was a huge crowd.
Huge crowd.
Yeah.
I was surprised it had such a negative reaction as it did, to be honest with you, because we were making jokes about it. We knew it was Danhausen. We had a hunch. We didn't know for sure. We all had a hunch it was Danhausen.
I was pretty confident. The person I knew that it wasn't going to be was Jericho. Like, I knew that wasn't happening. Like, he's not coming out of a box. That's not happening.
But we made the joke. We made the Jim Cornette joke that coming out of a box makes you over. Everyone who comes out of a box is over. And it was the exact opposite. Like, Danhausen's the first guy to come out of a box and not get over. Like, it was funny.
Yeah, it totally disproved Jim Cornette's theory that everybody comes out of a box, gets over.
Honestly, this might be a week to listen to the Jim. What is it called? The Jim Cornette Experience?
I check out the clips on YouTube. I can't, like, his show's too long. I can't sit through everything. So, but if he has a certain topic, I'll take a look at it. So, okay, now audience reaction aside, okay, and internet reaction aside, I know you watched it. What did you at least think of the Danhausen debut?
I thought it was a severe underutilization of the man.
I liked everything they did. What I didn't like is what they didn't do is they didn't let him talk and punch somebody in the nuts. Like, that's what I wanted to see.
That's what happened when he debuted in AEW. He didn't talk, but he punched somebody in the nuts. Like, he did a surprise. He came out, did the curse, and then, but like, it's an AEW group and like a fan base, and they knew who he was. So he got like over.
I liked the coffin. I liked the dancing girls, and I liked the song. I'm not proud of it. Yeah, I think the song is like, very much like Monsters. It's very much Danhausen for sure.
So I I got to be honest. I really liked his Ring of Honor music. I thought his Ring of Honor music was really good. I really liked his Ruckus AEW theme and this WWE one. I mean, like, honest to God, of all the Def Rebel, is that the name of the guy that does the music at WWE now? All his stuff sucks. But this Danhausen one, I kind of liked it. I didn't like it. I just thought it was. I thought Vinny was right about what he said about Danhausen. I thought he looked so JV. You know?
Yeah. Okay, I agree. Yeah. I do agree about that. Yeah.
It just stuff that works in AEW sometimes. I mean, AEW, like, it embraces its indie roots a lot, and that bothers some people about it. But I think it's part of the charm of AEW.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's wild to me that fucking Powerhouse Hobbs has to change his name, but Danhausen gets to be Danhausen. That's just hilarious.
Yeah.
But like,
I mean, but you're getting Danhausen for the, like, you want to sell the gimmick. Yeah. You want to sell the, yeah.
It's just funny. It's just funny to me. Like, Ricky Starks had to change his name, but like Ethan Page and Danhausen don't. It's just wild to me.
Jordan Grace and Joe Hendry, who had very much smaller profiles when they signed, like, they didn't have to either. Yeah.
I mean, honestly,
it's not a consistent thing.
Danhausen might have been a bigger name than Jordan. I mean, this is a TNA show, so people are gonna get really mad at me when I say this. Danhausen was probably a bigger name than Jordan Grace.
Well, he was on a show that was actively got more people, but he wasn't on the show very often, and he hasn't been on there in a long time.
That's part of the thing too. He's a top merch seller. I think that was another thing that Tony did. Is I think Tony was getting him in the pocketbook, like, because that's how Danhausen was going to make his money, was with merch. So I think that it's a little extra cold, in my opinion. Like, but like, I don't know, man. I do find the whole thing funny. I think the presentation was gobbledygook. Like, someone saw it was the Shockmaster. I don't know if it was that bad.
No, because Shockmaster was meant to be good. Like, when Dusty Rhodes wrote that and presented it, and like they thought it was going to get over. With gobbledygook, like, I think with gobbledygook.
I don't believe they thought it was glitter. They took a stormtrooper helmet and covered it in glitter. There's no way they thought that was going to work in 1993.
Dude, they were doing a bunch of hokey shit in 93.
Like, they sure were.
They sure were. Same era. I mean, wasn't there like a little person? I know we can't say the M word, like, that blew up a boat trying to kill Davey Boy and Sting.
Mike, that was 1 month earlier.
Okay. Yeah. So like they thought that was getting over, right? Like So the Shockmaster was meant to be good, and it wasn't. So Gobbledygooker was meant to be. They wanted to do the chicken from the baseball,
the San Diego chicken.
The San Diego chicken, and because it was getting over with kids at the baseball stadiums, so that's what they were doing. They knew it wasn't going to be liked by adults, but they're trying to get kids. So in the sense, they knew it was going to be like hokey and bad, but they was going for kids. Danhausen, I think they knew that it was going to get shit on, and they were just trying to have their Gooker moment. I could be wrong, and maybe everybody could shit on the theory. But
I love the conspiracy theory. I just don't think Triple H is that smart. I also don't know. I don't know where they go from here with him. I'm super curious to see what happens. You know, it was a great moment actually when Pete Rose dressed as the San Diego chicken and got
that was good.
That was actually pretty great. Now that I look back on it.
Yeah, that was good.